Hello, everybody. It's Graham Cope with another My Music. Hope you're all over your bank holiday, the weekend, and all of that now. I hope you haven't been sick on your chocolate Easter eggs and all of that. If you have, then you shouldn't have overindulged, should you? In a minute, I'm going to be speaking to Liam from the Claws about their music. But first, we're going to have that video that will really kind of reawaken you as you come into a new month. Here we go. Liam from the Claws, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm grand, mate. You're right.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine, thank you. We must also just touch on the basis that a lot of people will have just finished their tax year as well. Right. I don't know. Do you have to do a self-assessment return?
Yeah, the band does. Yeah, we have to send.
Yeah, what a nightmare, hey.
Well,
if you have just finished your self-assessment tax return and you found yourself with a little bit of extra money at the end of the year, great. You should have spent it already, but you can now, of course, spend some money on some music. That would be a fantastic thing to do. And we will, at the end of this, be telling you how you can spend money on the music of the Claws. So there you go. If you've made a lot of money, you're a millionaire now, or whatever. Do stay tuned to find out how you can spend some of your hard-earned dosh. So Liam, tell me, sir, when did the band get together? How did that happen?
Yes, I'm kind of a late comer to the band. They were kind of met in school, the other three lads. Obviously from like the age of 12, year 7 or so. And
wow.
At that point, obviously it's just kind of covers and playing like, family parties and that kind of thing to your mum and dad. And then I joined a bit later because I was in another band and kind of met the lads. And then we've been going that way since around 2016 with me in the band. And then since around 2019 properly. So, yeah.
Did they steal you from that other band, or were you already finished with that project?
Yeah, I was already finished, and it was just kind of timing and circumstances led me there, which, yeah, I don't regret. It's not been a bad thing at all. So,
no. Are you geographically from the same area as the rest of them?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It's in the same kind of area as in Birmingham, around half hour away. So,
but they all grew up together in school. Fantastic.
Yeah, they're all around 5 minutes away from each other, and then I'm around half hour away.
Wow. When you first met them, did you immediately form a bond with the rest of them, or did you have to win your way into the band, as it were?
Yeah, no. So my old band, it was kind of a bit more heavy rock at the time, as you do when you're like a young lad and stuff. You kind of fall into bands just based on what's there, who can play, and that kind of thing. And then we used to rehearse in the same place as the band that I'm in now, the Claws. And I always used to see them, and they were always kind of dressed a bit similarly to how I wanted to dress in a band and that kind of thing. And we're covering the Arctic Monkeys songs I wanted to cover and that kind of thing. So I was like, oh man, I want to be in them. And then it happened, and then we had our first rehearsal. And as I say, it was just like covering songs then, really. But it kind of just went really well and just slipped in straight away. And then it's been the same ever since.
As a band, have you got a particular approach to songwriting?
Yeah, well, it kind of changes every time, to be honest. We're all quite creative in that sense. There's no one that kind of gets left behind or doesn't put ideas in. So just based on what everyone kind of has now, we kind of get together and demo with certain ideas and then build them from there. Predominantly is Pearce, the frontman, that's the songwriter though. He's responsible for most of them, the birth of most of them anyway.
Listening to sort of your latest offerings, etc., you've got quite a good driving beat in there. Is there you mentioned the Arctic Monkeys, but is there also kind of a love of just good dance music in there, or good, even disco, if you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, as I say, covering Arctic Monkeys and stuff, that's when we were like 15, 16, and you just kind of getting into the bigger or indie alternative music at the time. But as we've grown up, like we've got into everything, and disco is predominantly like a really favourable genre between me and Pearce, the front man, which is what you can hear there. Then we're into a lot of like T-Rex and that kind of thing. So that's where those kind of guitar grooves come from as well. And then it's kind of all bled into the sound that we are now, really. It's a good cocktail of music.
It is. That is a great cocktail to have, isn't it? I mean, you know, how important is it for you as a band to be making music that when you perform it live, you get people up and dancing, not just standing there?
Yeah, that's what we're about completely. Like, you know, that's what we want from the gigs. And, you know, we've nearly finished our tour, and it's been the case every night. So I think on this one, we kind of established that we must be doing something right there.
When you go out and play live, is there ever a challenge in terms of getting an audience to warm up? It seems to me that there is a very Englishness to audiences still in the UK. I mean, it's getting better. I think after COVID, people have kind of gone a bit mad with music. But you know, especially when you're the support act and you first go on, what's the technique that you would use to really sort of get people going?
I mean, I'm not allowed a mic, so it's a bit harder for me. But I think we kind of we go out and we just kind of give it everything. Do you know what I mean? And it's almost a game of like winning people over, because I think when you go out, particularly on support slots, people aren't in a rush to love you. They're in a, you know, they just want to sit and have a chat with their mates and have a beer. So it's, you know, that's your time then to really show what you're about and win them on board. And on this headline run now, you know, we've had people say, "Oh, we saw you on this film. We were really impressed." I think you can't go on and be too like timid. Really, you got to go on and just give it everything and see what happens. And we always do that. I mean, it kind of comes easy because we love playing live. So that's just the way it is for us now. But I think it works.
Do you think you'll find yourself moving in a different direction as time goes on, or is this the direction you're happiest in at the moment?
I think for the moment we found our sound definitely, but you know, things change, don't they? So I don't know what kind of music we'll make in 10 years, but I don't think we really mind as long as we enjoy making it, which we do, and have done for as long as we've done it. So
you're getting some great support slots.
We've had some incredible support slots.
Yeah. Has that come from the bands themselves seeing what you're doing and actually then contacting you directly?
It's differed slot to slot. I mean, our most recent run was with the Ratons, and they actually said it was just because one of their girlfriends liked our band, so he'd have got.
Oh wow!
It's mad how it happens. Like, and then we kind of got on with them really well after supporting them once, and then we're invited to on the tour again, and we had a great crack on the road with them. Really good lads. But yeah, it depends on slot to slot really. It just depends how the cards fall, but we have been very fortunate in that sense.
Well, they've had great success with their latest album. I mean, getting that to number one, you know, as a independent band, is it a good time as far as you're concerned to be in a guitar band at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it is very competitive. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy that the fact that they did that is such a rarity. Really, it's like, oh, I can't believe that they've done. You know, an indie band has done this and stuff when there's so much good indie music out there. But I think it's definitely a sign of good things to come, and that it is, you know, more favourable in the public eye now. You know what I mean? As much as it was back in like the early 2000s and stuff. That's would be the most ideal thing that happens, and I hope it is.
Is there a dream for the band in terms of what they'd like to, or who you'd like to work with in terms of an album? You know, would there be a dream producer that you'd love to get on board?
Yeah, to be honest, our one now, we're so happy with him. We kind of done one song with him, and then everything changed. He kind of shaped us into this sound that you know now, and he just understood us, and ever since he's understood us and pushed us and kind of like funneled us into what we thought we wanted to know, if that makes sense. And it's just like the cards have fell perfectly there, and we can't wait to get in and just finish this album with him, and then we can all relax somewhat with like pushing ourselves in that direction.
How far are you through the album?
So it's all written. It's all written, but there's not too much money in this kind of level, so it's just a case of putting the pennies together to get in, you know, as and when we can. Really, we were in last week doing another song which we really like, really proud of, and then we're in again next month. So we're just kind of like gigging, saving, getting in, and then doing it that way, which wasn't how I thought it was going to happen, but that's just the way it is.
I know it's a bit like property development, isn't it? Music at this stage, it's kind of like, you know, you kind of have to sell a house in order to put the money into the next bit, you know, and if it doesn't happen or something falls through, then it doesn't get done. So it's a constant kind of moving forward.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, it is a bit of a slog, like, but you know, we're all doing as much as we can, because obviously, you know, you get asked it all the time when you're on tour, like when you're doing an album, and I think people think it's just that like you're lazy and you just don't want to do the album, but honestly it's just a financial thing. It really is.
Well, you've got support slot later in the year with the Sherlocks. Would you like to have the album finished for that particular?
Yeah, we would. Yeah, we really would. Even if it's just around that time and stuff, because we're in such a good place at the moment and churning out lots of music that we're really proud of as a result. So I think while we're just on such a buzz, it'd be good to kind of get it like finished. Do you know what I mean? But we all have to work and stuff in the week, so it's just as and when, really.
We've seen one of the bands that I've been following at the moment. I went to see them live, actually, supporting Shed 7, fantastic, which was lottery winners.
Yeah,
they great band, and one of the things that they're doing is that they've got guest artists coming all over their albums.
Yeah.
If you could choose a guest artist to be on a Claws album, who would that be?
Oof. It's a rough one, that is. Do they have to be like, is it a dead or alive situation?
It can be dead or alive, yeah.
Is it? Jim Morrison, man. I think we've that's our collective. We all kind of fall at the feet of the Doors, really. I think we'd make a good record of him, but I guess we'll never know.
Would he turn around and face the audience? That's the thing.
Pearce does that more than enough for the both of them. So
it would be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
How you know, you mentioned that earlier, but how important is it to have that good front man at the front, sort of?
Yeah, I think as time's gone on, it's become less like about, you know, a singular front man and more about the band as a whole. Yeah, the band as a whole and how well they bounce off each other. As you say, like the lottery winners, as you've just mentioned, you know, great band, and all four of them have got their own thing going on, which, you know, ultimately is the band, is the lottery winners, which what makes them so appealing and great live and stuff. And I think that's really important, that you're all, because you can have the best front man in the world, but if the other members just aren't up to scratch, and the band not getting anywhere, are they? So,
or just boring. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, look, you know, I love your music. You definitely got a great sound there. You got a great, you know, you got a great vibe which people would want to dance to.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there's still the best to come on this album yet? We haven't heard the best of you yet.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. A 1,000,000%. Yeah, there's records out that are kind of like fan favorites, which we're even like debating whether it's going on the album. That's how highly we regard the new stuff. Like, we've just sat with it for so long and perfected it, and you know, it's got to that point where it's not quite where you're overthinking it just yet. We're just loving it, and we're taking a few of the songs out for a spin on tour, and they've been received really well and stuff. So yeah, really excited about what's going to be on the final record.
Oh, that's great. So the stuff that's already been out may end up as bonus tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Or not on the album at all, you know. There you go.
Yeah, no, it's not a case of even like dismissing the old stuff. Like, love a lot of the records. It's just we're constantly writing, and it's kind of when you get like a new toy a bit, like you're just obsessed with that. So
yeah, and also when you write and you then start to put it together, it's got to work as a collective piece as well. Are you still quite a big fan of the album per se, as opposed to it just being a collection of songs? It has to work collectively together.
oh yeah, 100%, 100%. We know what we want from it, almost to the point where we've kind of written a certain direction to cater for parts that we thought might be missing. And what we have an idea in our head of what the perfect album is, and it won't be like a concept album of like a story, but we want each song to kind of say something and leave nothing behind, rather than just 11 songs put together. And there could be split like listen to in any order and it will make a difference. We kind of want it to be that kind of, like the Stone Roses debut, how that's just perfect from start to finish. You want it like that. That's the mark, really.
Yeah, you want it to ebb and flow and have take you up and take you down and
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, no Pink Floyd The Wall here then.
not quite yet, mate. Yeah, well, before we get to like the reunion tour or something, and we'll try out. Grow our hair out now.
Fantastic. Well, listen, it's been great having you on, Liam. Thanks for popping in and talking to me. I'll catch up with you on tour in October. I'll see you in Bristol.
Yeah, sounds great, man.
Yeah, have a good time till then. I look forward to the album coming out. When it does, let me know, and we'll make sure we give it a good promotion as well. If people want to get hold of your music, listen to your music, get on a. Do you have an email list that people can get on so they can keep in touch with you or anything like that?
Yeah, so on social media, it's just the Clause UK on everything. Spell SLAUSE. We had the problem recently where people think it's like cat claws and spelling it wrong when you say it. And then it's theclause.co.uk, the website where you can sign up to the mailing list, have a look at some merch, keep up to date with tour, that kind of thing.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, thanks so much for joining me again. This has been Liam. Ladies and gentlemen, do follow them on social media. Do subscribe to this as well so that the musicians can get the most out of all of the effort that they're putting in. I will be back very shortly this afternoon at 5 o'clock for yet another one of these with the senses. Until then, bye for now. Thanks, Liam.